DIY.
NEYO, a very prolific songwriter, prolific singer, someone who has had multiple #1 hits, sat down with Shannon Sharpe on his Club Shay Shay podcast, and he talked about his experience with the first record label that he signed to. He also talks about an interesting thing that they did with his budget right in front of his face. Hey, just a heads up, I had to change the pitch and the speed on this audio because YouTube was giving me issues. My bad.
My first deal was with Columbia Records.
Okay.
I'll say this, it was a learning experience.
Okay.
As an artist signed to a label, you don't got a whole lot of freedom, but there are some elements of that you can control. I went in under the impression that I had no control of anything, so I was kind of like a robot a little bit. Whatever they told me to do, I did. Whatever they told me to wear, whatever producers they told me to work with, I'm thinking, I've worked so hard to get here, let me not rock the boat. Right. So it finally came down to the album is done, the artwork is done, we've picked the first single, we're ready to go. And I'm looking at like a flyer of the artwork and I'm like, this is not me.
I think about that often, about artists who have done so many impressive things on their own that it has gained the attention of a major label opportunity. But regardless of those impressive things they've done on their own, which includes styling themselves, their graphic design, their branding, their logo, even coming up with their name, regardless of that, the label that is making the initial investment as a part of their record deal still feels a necessity to control all elements of what actually goes out into the public. Isn't that interesting that you have done enough to deserve and earn a seat at the table, but already they're making alterations to the ingredients?
This is not me. This is baby Tyrese or somebody. Like, no disrespect to Tyrese, but I feel like that's kind of the direction they was trying to go with.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's little Tyrese.
Okay.
Anyway, much love to Tyrese. Anyway.
Tyrese be letting folks have it. I don't think nobody want that Tyrese smoke. Tyrese will let you have it and pray for you. I don't blame you. NEYO had to make sure he reinforced that.
So I go to the label on some, listen, I know the album is finished. Do y'all think I could go in and maybe do 1 or 2 more songs that just kind of fit who the hell I am? Right? And they were like, well, no, album is done. And also your budget is depleted. I'm like, how was my budget depleted? I know.
So at some point he started to see that the branding that they presented on top of what he was doing wasn't him. He saw himself on flyers and he was like, yeah, I don't know what made y'all go with that photo. Y'all are literally making me look like I'm copying a whole nother artist and I got my own bag. And so he stepped up as a younger artist and said, is it too late for me to go back in and make some alterations to the music so that it feels more like me and that I'm more at peace with what's going out into the public? And they told him, no. And not only is the answer no, but you don't even have the budget to support. You don't have the technology or the steady hands because your budget is it is depleted. And he's like, depleted how?
And this is when I learned that, okay, I don't know if this still goes on. It's been a while since I've had this happen to me, but you get a record deal and they take you out to eat and they throw that credit card down at the end of the night. And what they don't tell you is that that's your budget on that credit card.
Hey, yo, the disrespect. Hate these labels. The disrespect. Be objective, Curtis. Can you imagine you just signed a fancy ass deal? Your life is getting ready to change. You're allowing them to be in the driver's seat because they got the Gouda. They got the money. They're changing all these elements of what actually worked and got their attention. But you're saying, you know what? Y'all are in this business. I trust the direction. Then, as you are playing ball, as you're being a great team player, you go to dinner with these folks. As you're having conversations about how excited you are about the things that are coming up and, you really believe in the vision that they're mapping out, they pull out their credit card. At Mr. Chow's, really expensive restaurant. Yes, don't worry about it. I've got it. NEYO, sit back. I've got it. Are you sure? Yeah, I got it. Believe me, I got it. And that credit card is linked directly to your budget as a signed artist. That's a cold ass game. Because then after that, you might be like, shit, well, let me get a couple more drinks since I'm not paying for it. That's a cold game.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
we went to Mr. Childs a bunch of different times. I'm like, they just
And you
they
paying
must
for it. You think, oh,
love me in here. Just Mr. Childs every time we visit. All right.
Imagine somebody making plans with your money. Imagine them doing it multiple times. And imagine them saying, I would prefer to go to Mr. Chow's, one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. Can you meet us there, NEYO? Shit, as long as y'all paying? I didn't say that, NEYO. I'm making light of it, but that is predatory. That is disrespectful. Once again, I know that everybody has different business ethics, but how could I ever trust the person sitting across from me if you would pull some shit like that? But imagine depleting and running through your partner's money without notifying them. Well, it's in the paperwork. You don't want to remind them? Like, as a partner, and I know every partner is not made the same. If I'm running through your budget knowingly and I want to see you win, at some point I'm saying, we ain't got to meet at Mr. Chow's. Let's go to Jack in the Box. You feel me? Like, what are the goals of these people?
My label loved me. No, I was paying for all that and had no idea.
Clearly, you said your first deal, so things didn't go as expected.
No,
so
they
when
did
you
not.
were dropped,
Sheesh.
what are you thinking?
To be completely honest with you, I went into a slight depression just behind really feeling like, you know, my foot was in the door. Maybe I should have just went with what they wanted me to do. To hell with artistic integrity and just go for it.
Right.
Even though he's telling a story that happened from the past and he obviously flipped this whole thing around and created a legendary career, he beat the odds, it still stings to hear that. Because I know there's a lot of artists right now that are having that same conversation in 2023 about whether they should sacrifice their artist integrity in the name of trusting in someone else who is in the business of selling records, who is in the music business, but doesn't understand what that can do to a creative soul. He just said he fell into a depression, and it's no surprise to me. When the thing that you have put your heart and soul into finally looks like it is gaining traction, and it looks like the rest of your life is going to be changed forever, you have people now that are there to support you in every category that you could possibly need as a signed artist. You have folks that are creating entire rollout plans just for you, meetings that are just for you and your art. And in the process, they're making a lot of alterations to what makes that art special to you, only to play their game with very little pushback. But he played the game, it didn't perform up to their standards, and he got dropped. Look, I played the game, you presented me as somebody that I did not agree with, and you still dropped me. That would pull anybody into a depression.
21 years old. I just got dropped from my record label. My managers is not picking up the phone no more because we got dropped from a record label. Like, it's like, all right, well, clearly they don't want you.
I mean, think about that for a second. 21, 22. As NEYO, he doesn't know he's going to become the NEYO that we know today. Who could know? How is he to know that at 21, 22, that wasn't his only chance? How many artists do you think that he saw that went through that process and got dropped off and never recovered? Who's he to think that he'll be any different? Because something he's not saying that I'm sure it was a concern of his is, could that situation with the label and being dropped affect future opportunities if I wanted to ever be signed again? Because these label owners are friends with each other. They're business partners. They're golf buddies. They're in the same field. So I'm sure that concern had to be, am I going to get blackballed from this as well?
I literally met the man that is my manager today as I was walking down the street, just literally singing at the top of my lungs with my eyes closed, because that's the only place that I could find. And he's in an SUV driving in the opposite direction. Turned around in the middle of the street and came back. Hey, you sing or something? Yeah, clearly. Hey, well, check this out. I know this person, that person. I got this studio. Mind you, I'm seeing his lips moving, but I ain't listening. Like, whatever, bro. Look, all right, well, where? Right around the corner. All right, come on, let's go. I hopped in the van. Again, I don't know who this person is. He could have killed me. I ain't know. I worked with him for roughly 3 to 4 months before we got the Def Jam deal. And mind you, no contract. He said to me, listen, I'm gonna shake your hand right now. If I don't get you a deal in 4 months, you walk away with that handshake and we go our ways. I don't need no paper, I don't need no nothing. 4 months to the day, I had a record deal. With Def Jam, yeah.
I salute NEYO for continuously pushing the vision that he had, but I cannot help but think about the folks who fall into these circumstances, get dropped, have their team leave them. Because of that momentary visibility that they had with that label deal, it attracts bottom feeders. It attracts people who know that you're in a vulnerable situation and know that you have shown in the past that you're willing to adjust to somebody else's plan. Knowing that this is the time to buy low and sell high at a different point, people become very predatory on creatives when they fall into this place. And to me, that represents a lot more people. NEYO was a blessing. I don't even want to call him lucky, but luck does absolutely play a part in that. I often think about the people who don't get the same opportunity, the people who look back on their time period and see all these folks who took advantage of them and have a completely jaded point of view of what it all looks like. They don't know what the purpose of it was. I can tell you this, you are in a position where you have forgotten more about the industry than some people will ever learn. I think that's the beauty of having platforms like a YouTube, having platforms like whatever one that you prefer, and telling your story. Because for every NEYO, there's a John Doe. There's a creative who really loved this and trusted in people around them. And before they wised up, it was too late. Man, crazy story, crazy way to utilize my man NEYO's budget, but also another reminder of why it's such a blessing to be a DIYer in 2023. Those are my thoughts. What about yours? DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.